Anyways, it's time to talk about the Disney adult people. Come on, chat, let's go. Disney adult time. Joke's on you, I'm dead on the inside. Ha, joke's on you. I can reverse that by calling your mom. Anyways, I got this video here. So I don't really look at, I'm not a Disney person. I never really like grew up with Disney. I've seen like a couple of Disney stuff, but it's just kind of like, but apparently these people are going into bankruptcy for Disney. But at the end of the day, these Disney adults, there's one thing that's very common with all of them. They're all fat. And that's been proven quite a bit or so. There's been quite a lot of them in general. They're all pretty much fat.
Walk around a Disney park today and you'd expect to see excited children dragging their parents from ride to ride. Instead, you'll see adult enthusiasts running everywhere, screaming, driving around on mobility scooters, documenting every inch of their experience on TikTok. These are Disney adults, and here they are in their natural habitat, riding scooters around at just 20 years old because they can't walk.
You can't walk around the age of 20? What are you, a baby? Oh, lordy lord. Jesus Christ. Okay, alright.
Eating about 5 desserts in one day to the tune of 10,000 calories, crying at random stuff in the streets. Childless adults now outnumber families at the parks. Some visit hundreds.
I remember when Disney was all about kids, not adults. I remember that.
Of times a year. Some even quit their jobs and relocate to Orlando to go every single day.
What?
And it might just be funny on the surface, it might just seem like some stupid immature people, but it all begins to fall into place when you realize that Disney is an empire, one that spread its roots further and wider than any other company in history. It's consumed some of the most beloved franchises in modern culture: Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, The Simpsons, Indiana Jones, and swallowed up media giants like 20th Century Fox, ABC, ESPN, National Geographic, and Hulu, all absorbed into one.
They own National Geographics? Huh, interesting. I guess you learn something new every single day. Never knew that they actually owned the National Geographic channel.
Giant corporate
What the
ecosystem.
hell?
They also operate 12 theme parks worldwide, a fleet of cruise ships, and an entire planned residential community in Florida. Its combined properties attract over 150 million visitors a year, more than any other major attraction on the planet by an order of magnitude. Even if you don't realize it, you barely go a single day without encountering something Disney owns. The films and programs we stream, the shows that kids everywhere watch in the morning, the merchandise in the shop window.
Well, I'm when it comes to Disney related things, it's pretty minimal because I don't know, I just watch YouTube videos.
The theme park advert on your feed. And like every empire, Disney has its castles and, most importantly for its survival, its subjects. Because the most valuable thing that Disney owns can't be found on their balance sheet. Instead, it's the loyalty of millions of adults who don't just enjoy Disney, but embrace.
Did you guys see that? Look, go back. Dude, that shit's weird. Look at this dude in the corner. This fucking dude in the corner is getting a head pat, and fucking Goofy is feeding him fucking food. This one right here. What the fuck is this, dude? Who are you? Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? Oh my god. Holy dude, this one's weird. This one's fucking weird right here.
Of millions of adults who don't just enjoy Disney, but embrace it with every fiber of their being, where Disney has truly become their religion. Now, the analogy of Disney adults as the subjects of the empire works so well because this is a fantasy universe manufactured for subservience. And if you want to make anyone subservient to your brand, rich, generally middle-class adults without any religion are usually the holy grail. The overwhelming majority of Disney adults are just white, college-educated North Americans, many of whom spend up to $10,000 a year on just Disney alone.
Excuse me? 10K? 10 a year. Damn, man, that's disgusting. I ain't gonna lie, to be honest. Hey, if you want to lose 10K, just donate it to me. I'm just saying.
And a lot of the time, most are spending considerably more.
It's gonna be about 4,000 for 2 days.
Just nonchalantly just saying 4,000. I'm spending about like 4,000 or so in 2 days.
About $35,000.
You
Holy shit, dude. I can buy me, with that money, I can buy me the supercomputer. Holy shit, dude. That's fucking crazy to see that.
You can easily burn through $1,000 in a single day at the parks without even doing anything extravagant. A Disney cruise can set you back more than a fortnight in Southeast Asia, and yet for most, it's the only holiday they take. So think about what that really means. These are people with the money and freedom to go anywhere in the world, to explore different cultures, try new experiences, and see things that might genuinely challenge or change them. But instead, people just seem to come again and again to the same place, again and again. Not because they've weighed up their options, but because nothing else even occurs to them. Some will even go into huge debt to maintain their Disney addiction, even when their salaries don't stretch far enough to cover it.
So the passes were $2,000
for the both of us.
What? For both of us.
I remember this episode.
You spent $1,000 on just being at Disney on here. $1,000 just on the Disney crap.
I mean,
for a day, for 1 day.
Some don't just visit regularly. They restructure their entire lives around proximity to the parks. From there, you can visit every day.
You know, you think that, you know, because a lot of these women are like, you know, overweight, right? You expect them when they go to Disney, they're walking around the park. You expect them to actually lose weight when they're going to the park. But it's not. They actually, like, it's the 100% the complete opposite, you know?
Day if you want, and some people practically do.
How does visiting nearly 3,000 times sound? Well, that has been done by this man, Jeff Wrights. He started.
Soul Cow Man visits Disneyland nearly 3,000 times. How much are these tickets? Like, how much is it in Disneyland?
Visiting the park every day in 2012.
Think about how the rulers of ancient empires made their money. They owned the land, controlled the culture, and dictated traditions and rituals, and the subjects paid for the privilege. Disney has achieved something remarkably similar in our world, and it's getting stronger every single year. Disney adults naturally date other Disney adults through dedicated dating sites because who else would understand?
They have dating sites for this? Excuse me? What is it? Like, what's one of the questions? What's your favorite goddamn princess or something? Or what's your favorite, like, song or so from the Little Mermaid?
Didn't we find a Disney adult dating site?
We did.
That's a thing.
We did.
I mean, that shows you
That's a thing.
that you can find somebody in this world.
You can get married in front of the castle, you can get married in the Haunted Mansion, and instead of a traditional tiara, some Disney adults choose bespoke pieces to get married in, like these Mickey Mouses made in collaboration with some of the world's most premium brands, like Vera Wang. Honeymoons, also Disney, or maybe a Disney cruise. And if you're now thinking this must be as far as it goes, then you haven't heard of Golden Oak. Golden Oak is essentially for the boss level Disney adult. It's the most extreme form of constructing your life around Disney. It is a community within Disney World itself, made up of eye-wateringly expensive mansions that start at around $10 million. Homes are built to Disney spec with statues and paintings of characters in the gardens and on the walls, floors, and ceilings. So now we have homes, holidays, and relationships all inside the Disney universe. So what's left? Identity itself. Disney doesn't actually allow adults to wear full costumes to the parks. That's reserved for children, so employees dressed as characters remain the only real versions. So Disney bound.
Well, it's because they don't want kids getting kidnapped by a random dude wearing one of the costumes from Disney or so, you know? If a random person from the outside of the place, you know, wears a costume and kidnaps kids, well, that's probably not looking very good for Disney.
means dressing to evoke a character without technically being in costume. Now the word means that these people are bound for Disney, headed that way to evade the costume police, but it portrays a deeper truth. These adults are both bound by Disney, a soft, comfortable cage that poses no challenges, and they are bound to Disney. They eschew individual identity and bolt themselves onto these characters instead. And then there's the most disturbing ritual of all, one that came to light through horrified employees.
The death? Like
as you can see throughout this video, we use a lot of stock footage. And one thing that never really gets talked about with video creation is just how much time gets burned finding the right assets.
Really?
Not just the editing, but hunting for the footage, the music, the sound effects.
Anyways.
Head to storyblocks.com/moon
And there
or
it is,
click
right
the
there,
link
chat,
in the
right there,
description
you
below.
go there.
Disney adults often choose Disneyland as the final resting place for the remains of their loved ones. Employees have taken to social media to admit that they regularly have to go and clean the ashes of a dead person.
One custodian.
Are you telling me they take the urns of their dead grandparent or parents and they throw it at Disney, at like the Disney park stuff, or at Disneyland? They just like spread their ashes around the park or something? Yes?
Ian told the Journal the
weird,
Haunted
man.
Mansion probably has so much human ashes in it that it's not even funny. Now, custodians told the Wall Street Journal that the job requires a special vacuum cleaner, which comes out at least once a month.
Disneyland is now recognized as one of the most popular places on Earth to scatter ashes. Employees receive special training on how to clean ashes. The company even has a special code word grandma to alert employees that more ashes need to be cleaned. While it's quite morbid for us to think that these people's ashes are being vacuumed up by a 17-year-old on minimum wage and dumped in a bin with leftover turkey drumsticks, for Disney adults it's a fitting end to a Disney life. So from birthdays to weddings to death,
That's crazy. So the grandma's ashes get picked up and it goes directly to the garbage can. And then they go towards a dumpster. That's a great way to put your family's ashes, in the fucking dumpster.
every stage of life channeled through the same corporation. The psychoanalyst Erich Fromm called this automaton conformity, the idea that people escape the anxiety of freedom by adopting pre-packaged identities. You don't have to figure out who you are if someone's already done it for you. You don't have to face the terror of choice if the choices have already been made. This is exactly what Disney offers, a full identity off of the shelf. Your character, your aesthetic, your community, all handed to you in a gift shop bag. They go so far as to engineer the physical environment to make sure it sticks. The parks use patented scent cannons, called smellitzers, hidden in walls and vents, firing specific fragrances at you hundreds of times a day. The olfactory system, meaning your sense—
Really? Damn, dude, what the hell? This is going on some weird, like top level of conspiracy shenanigans.
of smell connects directly to the brain regions for emotion and memory, which is exactly why Disney invested so heavily in scent engineering. There are also over 30,000 unique paint colors across the parks, including a shade called Go Away Green, specifically designed to make infrastructure invisible to guests. The background music in the morning is fast and exciting. Evening music slows down to make you linger and shop. So the brainwashing extends from the physical environment and parks, which still constitutes the vast majority of Disney's profits, to its sprawling digital empire of content and franchises. They started handing each film to a different director with a different vision and no shared outline. For Star Wars, they spent 2 films building up the villain Snoke, then killed him off with no explanation, and then patched it over with somehow Palpatine returned. A line so lazy, it became a meme as soon as the credits rolled. Then there was—
I never watched any of the new Star Wars movies, so I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
The infamous Snow White, which we've made tons of videos on before. Hundreds of millions were spent on a remake where the lead called the original weird and the princess stalker,
with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
I remember
while the romance was gutted in favor of girl boss leadership arcs nobody asked for, where the dwarfs were replaced with CGI and it completely bombed and everybody hated it, completely desecrating the original loved one. There's a pattern across everything Disney touches now where ideology takes priority over storytelling. We've seen it with the conflicts in politics in Florida with just the parks alone. But also in movies and TV, characters are constantly rewritten to represent something, where villains have become strawmen for whatever ideological message the writers want to push. The old Disney movies at least told universal stories about love, loss, courage, and fear that could touch everyone. Now even Bob Iger himself had to publicly admit that Disney had been putting, quote, messaging over storytelling, and that he would finally no longer tolerate it. When the CEO of a company is saying that out loud, you know the rot has gone deep. But Disney adults, as visible and extreme as they are, only represent the most obvious layer. They're the ones who wear their loyalty openly, but many of us contribute too, and often without realizing we're doing it. Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar fans didn't sign up for Disney. Disney just comes for all of us. If you probably watch anything on TV, it's coming for you. When Disney buys these companies,
mostly watch anime. I don't watch anime now, but that's what I usually watch the most. I've only watched the original 6 films of Star Wars. I have not seen a single Marvel movie. What was the last Pixar movie that I remember watching? Maybe Cars? Question mark? I might have seen some other Pixar movie, but I probably don't remember off the top of my head though. The original Incredibles. I know they made a second one, but I've never seen the second one. I've never seen like the sequels of like some of the Pixar movies when they made, you know, sequels and everything. I have not seen Up. Nope, have not seen that one. I remember Cars. I remember the first original Cars movie, and then I know they made a bunch of sequels for it. Never seen any of the sequels. That's kind of like basically it so far. I'm like trying to remember this off the top of my head, but I've never seen a single Star Wars movie. I've seen like the first 6 movies, and I've seen the Attack of the Clone Wars animated series when it was on Cartoon Network a long time ago. I remember watching that. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to Star Wars, but nothing for Marvel. I haven't seen a single Marvel movie. I've seen like the old, like I don't know if they were part of Marvel during that time. The X-Men Origins, or the original X-Men's, like the long time ago live action X-Men movies. I don't know if they were part of Marvel or not. If they are, then yeah, I guess it counts. So Monsters Inc. I don't know what else came out. I remember Monsters Inc., but I've never seen any of the sequels.
It acquires fandoms. Entire generations of people who had built deep emotional connections to these franchises suddenly found themselves at the company's mercy. And in some cases, the result has been nothing short of vandalism, as we saw with the failed Star Wars movies and series, or the constant Marvel reruns that seem to get worse and worse and worse. Let alone all the—
because they kind of keep doing more like female characters, but they're like kind of like writing the female characters probably not that great. I know this one wasn't written very well, is what I heard.
Countless other franchises ruined in the blatant crusade of profit extraction. Now, you might roll your eyes at a grown woman sobbing over Goofy or Mickey Mouse, but Disney is an all-consuming beast that might destroy something you love eventually. We've mentioned it many times with films like Snow White, as this all tells us the most insidious thing about how the company operates. It isn't purely extrinsic, something bottled onto modern culture from the outside. It's intrinsic to our memories, our feelings, our sense of what safety and happiness mean. A company whose influence has grown inside of us since childhood, and it starts with something most of us completely underestimate. I mean, just think about some iconic Disney moments. Different films, different decades.
I remember Bug's Life. I remember Finding Nemo. I remember the original Mulan. I remember parts of The Lion King, but I never saw the entire movie. Toy Story, the original one. I remember that one.
It's different characters.
And I've never seen the whole movie of Aladdin. I only saw pieces of that movie, and that's it. So that's basically for me.
But the same feeling, that warmth in your chest, that tug backwards to somewhere safe and simple. But I never saw the whole entire Aladdin movie. And don't get me wrong, in many cases, there is great cinema with Disney. The mere existence of Disney adults doesn't negate everything Disney has ever done. This is a company that captures—
that guy that's getting a pat on the head or so from Goofy and getting fed food is the most weirdest TikTok short I have ever seen. So it's so weird, dude. That is so weird.
Something universal about childhood. The wonder, the safety, the simplicity, the beauty, the innocence, and put it into words and pictures in a way nobody has ever done before. And that turned out to be the recipe for insane success. It allowed America's soft power to expand across the world. And there's a word for the feeling Disney films try so hard to create, and it's older and more powerful than most people ever realize.
The girl with the blonde
nostalgia.
hair. Yeah.
And it comes from two ancient Greek words, nostos meaning to return home, and algos meaning pain. It was actually coined as a medical diagnosis in the 17th century to describe the crippling homesickness of Swiss soldiers fighting abroad who longed for their homeland so desperately that some became physically ill. Nostalgia isn't happiness, it's closer to a kind of grief, a yearning for something you once had or think you had that you can never fully return to. And that's what makes it so commercially potent. If the feeling were wholly satisfying, you'd experience it once and move on. But nostalgia pulls you back again and again because it never quite delivers what it promises. Disney enthusiasts are suspended in that nostalgia cycle, and it's highly addictive. We all probably reminisce about childhood or when we were young and nothing mattered, but Disney positioned itself to capitalize on that wistful emotion. Of course, Disney didn't invent nostalgia, but they were the first to understand how essential it is to our human experience. They recognized it as an unresolved need, and if you could make yourself the answer to its calling, you'd make people dependable. The fertile ground for this was childhood. That's where our deepest emotional connections are formed, and for a company whose long-term survival depended on those connections lasting well beyond childhood, there were
The one Disney movie that I remember was a live-action Disney movie. I don't remember what it's called or so, but I remember it was 2 dogs and a cat. It looked like a Siamese cat. I think it was a Siamese cat. I don't remember what the cat was. But one of them was a golden retriever and the other one was a pit bull. The pit bull was kind of stupid or so, and the golden retriever was the was kind of like the logical oldest one. Homeward Bound? Yeah, I remember that movie. That's the one that I remember watching that. And then I remember watching a movie or something about bears, like an animated bear thing or something like that. I don't know what that one was called or so, but it's some I know I had it was either some like Native American guy turning into a bear or something like that. And then like at the very end he decided to stick to being a bear or something. I don't know, something about like his like Indian heritage or something. I have no fucking idea. It's something like that. I don't remember the movie
had
though.
to start there. So Disney invested enormous resources into understanding how children form emotional bonds. Psychological research into their emotional drivers, how they interpret symbols, what feels authentic versus manufactured. They used those findings to calibrate their films with specific color palettes.
I did not see this movie. I saw the live action of 101 Dalmatians. I never saw this movie, never saw Beauty and the Beast. Never saw Snow White, never saw Hercules. I've seen the TV show for this one. Never saw the full original video movie of Aladdin. I saw the cartoon of this one. I never saw Cinderella.
Certain music intervals and certain narrative beats, all to create maximum emotional renaissance in developing brains.
Used to have Sleeping
We
Beauty.
associate a lot of this work with big tech, but Disney, funnily enough, was there first. Before the 90s and 2000s, the big commercial problem was still that children's films, even the most successful ones, don't turn a company into a conglomerate. Disney's parks were making the serious money. But while you can hook children in with films while they're young, they aren't the ones with money to spend at the parks. They needed to tap into that adult money. And look at Walt Disney himself explaining this.
Were your films principally designed for children?
Well, no, you have to appeal to the adult, or, the adults have the money, the children don't have any money.
So they had to crack adulthood.
That's
and luckily,
interesting.
an early Disney movie, Peter Pan, provided the perfect solution. You have to stop people from growing up. Disney later summed up the strategy in 2 words: age decompression, and it comes into its own in the last 10 to 20 years.
Most of it, though.
We've been sold the idea that adulthood is a rude awakening, and of course it feels like that sometimes.
Fantasia was an acid trip?
Bill,
I don't remember
stress,
too much about it,
disappointment in
though.
friendships, relationships. In this real world, people don't burst into song on the street unless they're
I've never seen
intoxicated
any of the
or going
live-action
through some sort
Disney
of mental
movies.
crises. Strangers glare at you for making eye contact. You spend your days in cramped flat shares, walking concrete streets, working in glass offices. Not extraordinary places bursting with color and life. This isn't what you were promised throughout childhood. You're a princess, a prince, a chosen one, just waiting to be discovered.
This movie. I've seen this movie. I've had this movie on VHS. I remember this one.
Discovered. But the problem is that when you treat adults like children long enough, they start to behave like them. The infantilization of culture is now endemic to society.
Toledo's,
it's my safe space. I'm protecting my
Sorry.
energy. This is my self-care.
That's the one thing
We've
that I
built an
noticed is
entire
that they're all
vocabulary
fat.
around retreating from challenges and wrapped it in the language of mental health, which makes it impossible to question. If someone says Disney is their safe space, what are you gonna do? Tell them that their feelings are wrong, attacking their coping mechanism?
If that is their safe space, do not. I don't want. I don't want to be near them. I want to be 20 billion gajillion light years away from them.
You'd sound like a monster. And that's the shield. Corporations love this because a customer who believes they need your product for their emotional well-being and life is a customer for life. So what do you do when adult life just does feel too intense?
And I'd rather have my kids be a bunch of anime nerds and collect waifus than watching them deteriorate themselves being a Disney adult. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, you go back to your safe place. Now we all turn to our favorite form of escapism when we're in a rough patch. Some play the video games they played as kids or cook food they had as kids. It's okay to escape occasionally. But when manufactured on an empire global—
But I think the difference is for escaping or so, right? Is that Disney is owned by a corporation and the corporation has a mindset to squeeze every dollar from you specifically, while when you're playing a video game, especially an old nostalgia video game, you already have it there. You've already paid it one time and you can play it as much as you want. Or when cooking that old specific meal or drawing something or so, you already have the stuff. It's free, you know? While the Disney one or so, they're like nickeling and diming you and squeezing every fucking cent out of your fucking savings and body until you go into debt, basically, you know, for you to come back for this magical world, you know? I think that's like the huge difference that I have with, like, there's no problem escapism at the end of the day, but the problem is like what kind of escapism you're doing.
Corporate level, escaping becomes
being
a trap
an
that
anime
subjects
enjoyer,
willfully
you know,
live in because
you can
the
watch
alternative
anime,
is too frightening.
and it's not
Ever
gonna
since
it's not gonna
childhood,
cost you an
they've
arm
been
and a
made
leg.
long-term, lifelong consumers. The psychoanalyst Eric Fromm called this automaton conformity, the idea that people escape the anxiety of freedom by adopting pre-packaged identities. You don't have to figure out who you are if someone's already done it for you. You don't have to face the terror of choice if the choices have already been made. So in this sense, escapism might be the biggest misnomer of the century. People are going to the same place, consuming the same stories, riding the same rides, wearing the same ears year after year. There's no true exploration, just the illusion of exploration mirrored in a form that feels safe and easy. You might have heard of Plato's allegory of the cave, which is one of the world's oldest thought experiments. Inside the cave, the prisoners are chained up facing a wall watching shadows flicker in the firelight. They've never been outside to see the real world, and the shadows are all they know. So to them, the shadows are the real world. The important bit is what happens when one prisoner finally gets dragged outside. The sunlight is blinding, the real world is overwhelming, confusing, and just too much to process. You might feel like this when you're about to start a real adventure. You might step off the train, plane, or bus in an entirely new place and feel anxious yet excited trepidation. It could also be something like starting a new job, going to a new school, or heading to university for the first time. It's uncomfortable by definition. This isn't your comfort zone. This is what makes it an adventure, and eventually you become more comfortable. These are the moments where life happens. But when someone feels thrown into the unknown, their first instinct tends to be that they want to go back. Disney manufactured a fake representation of adventure that keeps people cocooned inside their cave, and honestly, it's kind of evil genius. For the most extreme followers, it made the cave so beautiful, so emotionally optimized, so perfectly calibrated that the real world just could never compete at all. But Plato's point wasn't that the cave is evil, it's that the prisoner who stays there will never know what they're missing. You can't miss a sunset you've never seen, you can't long for depth you've never experienced. The cave doesn't feel like a cage, that's the deeper problem. And this is where this whole video stops being about a story on Disney adults and becomes a story about all of us. Because making us feel comfortable with the cave is the dominant strategy behind social media, behind every streaming service, and lately, generative AI. Every app on your phone is designed around the principle to keep it simple, keep it rewarding, keep them coming back. Swipe right, swipe left, like, subscribe, follow. Don't make anyone think too hard, don't make anyone wait, don't make anyone uncomfortable. Reduce every interaction to its simplest possible form and repeat it infinitely. They create environments where the content is familiar, the rewards are predictable, and the outside world, with all its friction and ambiguity, starts to feel like too much effort. Disney has been pioneering this model for 100 years, targeting psychological engineering.
I'm gonna say, hold on, go back.
Disney has been
Never saw The Little Mermaid. I never saw Brave. Never saw Tangled. Never saw Frozen, but I did hear that stupid goddamn song repeatedly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just saw that as a social trap.
Pioneering this model.
Pocahontas. Never saw Pocahontas either. I saw bits and pieces of it, but that was from like a video store, and that's about it.
For 100 years, targeting psychological
right
engineering at children, building an empire driven by profit extraction at a level that puts people into more debt than substance abuse, brainwashing you since you're a child to always stay a lifelong Disney consumer.
Well, it never brainwashed me, so it fucking failed, I'm gonna be honest with you, so their tactics are not good enough against me.
And the greatest trick they played was making the fake world feel like enough, making the fake experience feel like a lie.
Get back to your
That's
lurking.
what makes the cave feel so complete that the prisoners never even think to look for the door. But don't be fooled into thinking this is some far-flung issue situated inside a theme park in Florida. You might find yourself or someone you know sitting right there with them, watching the shadows dancing on the wall.
Sorry, it was. Okay,
and thanks to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out using the link in the description below.
It's kind of crazy though how these people go into depth or so for freaking Disney. I don't know. I just kind of like watch mediums, you know. That's just kind of like it. Like, will I watch a Disney movie? Yeah, I'll just watch a Disney movie, or like whatever other shenanigans, you know. But I'm not gonna be like so infatuated in it, you know. Like I'll collect, like for anime, right? I have figures, like I have them down here, you know. If I have the money, I'll buy it. If I don't, I don't. You know, it's just kind of like it, you know. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna go into depth or so for anime figures or anything else or anime related shit, you know? I don't know. This is weird though. This is the company that threatened to sue a grieving family for putting a picture of Spider-Man on their 4-year-old's headstone. That's crazy. Children are treated like adults and adults are treated like children. Is this creepy culture? When grown-ass adults are crying on the sight of Donald Duck, you know we have gone too far. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Crying an adult or so, seeing like your favorite mascot or so is kind of a bit of weird behavior. But yeah, anyways. That's the end of the video. And man, Disney adults are so weird, to be honest. Thank God I'm not a Disney adult. Fucking Jesus Christ.